want to ask some opinions about this Minnesota Timberwolves team, who I'm really actively cheering for now. The Celtics have been booted out. Bob, Julius Randle. I mean, I feel like we had a conversation in the playoff preview where I was like, maybe Julius Randle will be better. I just have to like pat myself on the back for this. I was like, maybe Julius Randle will be better with Tom Thibodeau not running him into the fucking ground all season. Maybe if he just has like a few minutes left in his legs by the time we get to the playoffs, there's no playoffs Julius Randle, which was obviously a pejorative term, like sent in his direction because he would never show up for New York, right? So how much have you been enjoying watching Julius Randle? And are you worried now that since we just got done talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, that they just kind of have too much for this Timberwolves team? Because I imagine we're all still sort of cheering for him, right? Just because Ant's so likable.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like Julius Randle a lot. I think the fact that he showed up for game one and he was the only one that did shows how much he still has left in the tank, exactly like you said. If Anthony Edwards can actually show up alongside him, I really think that they have a chance against Oklahoma City. They can really put it together.
Do you think Anthony Edwards has been putting in a bad playoff performance, or do you think that the box score is not accurately representing like some of the things he's doing on the floor? Because I feel like he's shooting when he should be shooting, he's passing when he should be passing, he's playing good defense, and I think the Timberwolves are playing overall very good defense. I think it's what's gotten them here. I think the last series was really came down to how much effort they still can continually put on the defensive side of the ball in every single possession. And I think that that's what we saw like across like getting to them to this point. The problem is when we saw this with Celtics teams in the past, Bob, they run so fucking hard, and when they have to chase all five guys on a team, you're like, ah shit. like they can like with the way that OKC passed the ball, and I think they might even have this similar problem that the Pacers say if that situation like emerges. You're like the way they play defense, the fifth guy is gonna get the ball, but the fifth guy in OKC can shoot in the position he ends up with in the ball, right? They're like similar to how we saw Celtics teams set up. So are you worried about these matchups at this point? Like now that we've kind of had the overall come to Jesus about this Oklahoma City team, or do you think that that they'll do that war of attrition thing they always do, the T-Wolves, and by game 3, game 4, game 5, we'll see the other team getting really tired because they've just been D'd up for the whole series?
Well, I don't know if OKC is really the type of team to get worn down because of how young and how much use
Yeah,
they
that's a good
have.
point. Good point.
I,
It's a bad
I,
matchup.
it is a bad matchup for the T-Wolves, which is why I do have OKC in 6, I think.
Oh,
Um,
that hurt.
yeah, I just think when you look at what Minnesota has, it's Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and then you have an old Mike Conley, and then you do have DiVincenzo and Reid coming off the bench, but I just think the OKC defense is just too much for them. I really do. And I don't think running up and down is going to get it done against OKC. It's just not. You know what I mean? And
It's gonna require. I'll give you this. It's gonna require an Anthony Edwards like level up.
Right.
Right.
That
I mean,
he's going to
I think he can do
have
it.
to play. Yeah, he's going to have to play the way that you in particular, because I
Not
think
the
he's your
royal
favorite
you,
NBA
you
player.
and me. Who won't
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
up about it. And he's not having a great playoffs. Yeah, I get it.
But he has to play.
Mike finding enjoyment in this so unsurprising. It's the least fucking surprising thing of all of
I
this.
mean, he's my favorite player left in the playoffs.
I know, but nothing trumps like seeing other people suffer for you. Like the number one thing for you is like, yeah, but you get enjoyment out of like me saying something and then the opposite becoming true. Like that's one of your favorite things that can happen in your life. So I appreciate this. You're staying consistent despite how much you like Anthony Edwards.
That's just how highly I think of you. You know,
I appreciate that. You know what? I think that's true.
It is true.
I think you're just that kind of guy.
It is true. But he does. I mean, for all intents and purposes, he can't be the second best player on the floor via the box score.
I agree.
I know that like we don't just look at the box score, but in a series like this where OKC will not get worn down by the type of play that Minnesota does, he has to be the best player in all aspects for them to win. That and also like Nas Reid can't have 4 points off the bench. Like he can't fucking do that. He can't play 28 minutes and score 4 points.
Do you think that okay, small market issue aside, Ray did when he was talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, he did allude to the fact that they have a pretty decent home crowd. And I think a big thing for the T-Wolves is, I mean, we're kind of talking like they've already lost. Like, you know, they're being pretty competitive in this game right now. And honestly, they were competitive across 3 quarters in the last game, and then they just sort of took their foot off the gas when they knew they couldn't win, which is a quality this team has, which really annoys me, actually, when they're like, it's fine. We'll play the series, not the game. Like, they have that mentality for sure. And it's annoying because that can really bite you in the ass. See the Celtics against Miami and the Celtics against the Knicks. But but I feel like because I gave the Thunder less credit than I think I should have, and their home fans being a pretty decent outfit, the thing that the Wolves do, other than like play energy, is they have a pretty decent bench as far as role players go, and role players don't play that well on the road when the road team's home court is hard to play at, right? And I think I saw that show up, especially alluding to what you're saying, Mike, with Nas Reid 4 points off the bench. I mean, he has a similar impact to. I think they have a little bit of a deeper squad to compared to say the Nuggets, but he has a similar impact to like a Gordon on Denver, or like a Dort, or like these guys that they are a physical presence. They can shoot the ball really, really well, and you trust them to. That's the most important thing. A role player that you trust to shoot the ball. Now, like, to put it in a Celtics sort of context, we at one point, that Jay Crowder was that guy. And I think there was a split fan base on, if Jay Crowder is good enough to be the role player that you trust to shoot the ball. There was at one point a guy named Grant Williams who was that guy, and I was pretty adamant that Grant Williams cannot be that fucking guy.
What about, you can't forget James Posey.
Can't forget James Posey, who everybody was unanimous that should be that guy, right?
Yeah,
and except for one guy in the whole entire world that didn't think it should be him, and that guy's name was Eddie House. So the spirit of that guy, I think the guy we have to do it now is Peyton Pritchard. And he almost might be too good to really be a role player that you trust to shoot in big moments. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the fuck that team's going to look like next year. We'll come on to that. But I wonder if that's going to be an issue for the T-Wolves moving forward, because the Thunder also have guys like that. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's almost like a Holmgren. You know what I mean? Like you can put him in those situations, and like that's a pretty high level that you have 1 through 6 on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I guess my point is, it's looking like a worse matchup than I thought. I'm still going to ride with the Timberwolves, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to say T-Wolves in 7 because I believe Anthony Edwards is going to show up to this series. Let me get a prediction from you, Mike, and then you, Ray, and then Bobby. You already said, right? You said OKC in 6. That hurts.
In 6, yeah.
OKC in 7.
Everyone. Ray?
I'm gonna go with OKC in 6 as well.
Could be tough.
And it's not because of not believing, and like you said, it's just their team is not as deep as OKC. So
It's not.
when, like I said, unless some guys raise their level of play, and once again that can happen for a game or two, but can you do it for 4 games? And like you said, like Mike said, Nas Reid, what he was phenomenal last year in the playoffs, amazing. At times, might have been their second or third best player on the team, right? Like it can't, so much so that they was benching Towns, for him, and which is why, like, secretly, like, I would like for it to be Knicks Timberwolves just because of how that went down the offseason. I just don't know if it's going to get to that, and we'll get to that later on. But yeah, a lot of guys got a rich level. DiVincenzo was awesome in last year's playoffs too. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that just have to raise their level. If they can raise their level, if they can go 5 to 6 points above their average in the play, from the regular season to the playoffs, then they have a shot. But if not, OKC does what they've been doing all year. They flip the game, and they just go from there. So they can go on a 10-0 run in the game.
They force so many turnovers, and that's
exactly. Yeah. And once again, the NBA lets them be physical too. So when you let somebody be physical on defense in this era, you cause those unforced turnovers. So. Yep.
29-25 at the end of the first quarter. I just want to point out one little thing, Mike. I think you'll like this. There's a little microcosm of a game going on right now, which I think is going to really prove to be statistically impactful over the course of this series, however long it goes. Anthony Edwards and SGA both have 8 points, but Ant's 8 points are coming from a 4 for 10 from the field and no trips to the line. And SGA's 8 points are coming from a 3 for 3 from the field and 1 trip to the line where he hit both free throws. And that's just 1 quarter, right? So it's a very small sample size to look at. But if the efficiency rating, Mike, of those 2 guys trends in that direction, I think you guys are right. I don't see how, if whenever Shea is going to score, he is. And when Ant is trying to take over the game, and maybe at, like you say, Ray, like at times being able to do it, but if it becomes like he's shooting 40% overall, You know what I
Yep.
mean? And it's on a 4 for 10 where it's like you shot 10 fucking times in the first quarter. You know what I mean? It's like he's
But
getting the looks.
He's had a few moments like that already this postseason where, he's had scoreless halves. He's had, 5 to 18 performances. And once again, in another market, you get killed. I don't even just Boston, I'm sorry, in general. Like in a bigger market, you get killed for that. But we love the aggression. Like I said, for me, I don't have an issue with him shooting 18, 20 times because
No, but I think there is such a thing as
guy.
both
I'd rather
guys.
you go down. I'd rather you go down with your best than to counter.
No, totally. Absolutely.
I'm fine with that. But
Conceptually, I agree with you totally. I'm just talking in the sort of the Mike perspective of all things. There's
Well,
both
Mike-
guys have 8 points. Both guys
all
have
I
8
care
points.
about.
There's such a thing as a good 8 points and a better 8 points, right? Like there just is. Like and that I just think overall efficiency. If you're looking at it, I think you're gonna go with the guy who hit all the shots.
Mike is okay with 15, 8, and 7 in the win. You don't care. Yeah, but you get 50. Mike want to see if can you dominate doing 50
I've watched
7 and play good defense.
Yeah, I've watched Harden score 50 in losses all the time, so like it's fine. But like
He don't know, but Timmy, he doesn't defend though, so there's a difference.
But here's the thing: the stat that you didn't bring out that I think could be something that's positive for your boy DK is that Ant has half of the Minnesota Timberwolves rebounds. Half.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing a very physical game. All 8 of his points so far are very hard won. It's like he's been in the post, he's been going to the hoop, he's gotten 0 foul calls, even though he's been fouled a couple times, and this whistle is starting to fucking annoy me, quite frankly. Because if we're talking about like just like at least call it fair both ways across all the superstars in the league, it's happening inside this series right now. Like where SGA is going to the line and Ant's not, and it's like, come on, guys, just make it fair. Like just make it fair. Just call it the same way both ways, please. I will also say, he looks small. He looks small in this series. Fucking OKC are fucking huge. Like they really are.
Yeah.
And it's like that's going to be an issue. And I think Julius Randle is going to be a big part of that.